Most men won't tell you, but all woman needs to hear. Watch this video. Let me know what you think. Let's go.
Men don't give a shit about no cooking and cleaning. I'm just gonna keep it a bean with y'all. We was cooking and cleaning before we met y'all.
Talk to
We
him.
had to make ourselves a meal and we had to clean up the house before y'all got done. Meaning that's not the things that we only and mostly need you to help for. You know what I mean? And women don't understand that a lot of times. They think that's the foundation. They think bringing that to the table makes them valuable. I promise you, sex, cleaning, cooking, that shit don't make you valuable with men.
Talk to him.
We appreciate it. I said we make them valuable. But that's not the make or break for most guys. At all. It ain't. It's how you support us emotionally. Being this peace. Being that peace, those things are the most important things for guys. We living in a time where we all know I know how to cook my own and do it. Didn't I do? Is it appreciated when it's done for me? Absolutely.
That's a fact.
But I know how to do that myself. I want you to give me something that sometimes I might not be able to give myself. Correct. That's what it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes that support and that believing, believe in me. That type of emotional support. It's exchange of strength and weaknesses. Exchange of strength and weaknesses. Yep. Build each other.
Hey, Shalom. Giving all praises to 𝐤𝐄𝐅𝐿𝐿, and double honors to the apostles and bishops and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to you, hopefully elect. I'm your brother 𝐤𝐄𝐅𝐿 from GMS Orlando, and hope you women take notes, man. All right, because this is something that I've been saying. When it deals with the whole infamous Isaiah 4:1 topic, all right, which I'm probably going to get, for the most part, like it was being said in this video, man, for the most part, men know how to take care of themselves. Men know how to do for themselves. I use my example all the time, because I'm to a point, been to a point where I can cook for myself. I clean for myself. Hell, I know how to sew. All right. You see, and that's why when it comes down to it with you women, matter of fact, let's just get it real quick. And Isaiah 4. That's why it's always told the brothers that, for one, have a standard. All right, to you brothers, man, have a standard, because all that ass and titties, all that shit's played out. It's been played out. All right. Well, have a standard about yourself. All right. And don't just, don't settle for less. Don't just accept anything that comes your way, because there's going to be a lot more rejecting than accepting when this comes around. Isaiah 4:1. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. What is that reproach? It's that shame, because you women, you've been propped up on this pedestal. You could do bad by yourself and this and that. Well, in the process, all right, men, over the years, men have just learned to just figure it out for themselves. All right, men have just figured out to just do for themselves. And it's unfortunate we're in the time where you for the most part, you women are useless to a man. Other than some box, hit it and quit it. And your box ain't special, because this plenty of box here everywhere. All right. There's plenty of box everywhere. And hell, shit, even with that being said, cause you question why brothers get on the so-called black woman, and the women too, the kingdom women too, because me altogether, I mean, don't get me wrong. As far as look-wise, Eve is bad as hell, the baddest on the planet. All right, even in this state, that you women are in right now. But nevertheless, is more than just looks. And the scriptures tell us not to, desire her just for her beauty, or desire a woman just because she look good. Because, like I said, we wear our own apparel, eat our own bread. It's about what can you bring to the table. It's about what can you provide. How can you forward my enterprise? And you brothers definitely have to have that type of a mindset. All right. What can she do for me? How can she add to my enterprise? What I've got going on? Because of course, again, we've been in a society where it's been taught that we're supposed to add to her table. No, she's supposed to bring to your table. You woman, you're supposed to bring to his table. All right. And that's what this is about in Isaiah 4:1. All right. Like I said, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. You better have a trade or something. All right. You better be able to bring something, you know. And especially now when brothers' tolerance level is very low. Brothers don't, tolerate a lot of shit as it is. All right. So you're definitely going to have to come with it, man. You know. Because, again, we're in a time where, hey, men know how to do for themselves. And then, like I said, man, you women are, it's a hard pill to swallow, and it's sad to say, but for the most part, you women are useless. And that's not to say that, all 100% women are like this. You're salvageable. All right, but majority of these women are. That's why I want to go to this. And that's why you women are going to have to come humbly, because it mentioned to take away that reproach, that shame. All right. You women better come with your head down, because we're going back to, that's what's called about it. Everything is returning to its natural estate. Everything's returning to its origins. All right. Because at one point, you women wouldn't even dare to look a man in his eye. But now we're in an age where you women, you will look a man dead in his eye and talk shit like he won't beat your ass, man. These women will look you dead in your eye. But when the time is coming where these women they're not going to dare to look a man in the Lord in the eye. They're going to have their head down as it's supposed to be. That shame face. All right. Everything's returning to how it's supposed to be. Everything's returning to its origins. So in Ecclesiastes 36 in verse Sirach 36 in verse 22, starting at 22. The beauty of a woman cheereth their countenance, and a man loveth nothing better. And you see, listen, like the Jakes was going into in this video. All right, all that. Listen, it's a plus, and don't get me wrong. Because like they say, men are simple creatures, right? It's not to say that we don't appreciate these things, right? A woman that can cook and do all these things, rub your back and all these things, all right? But hey, it's like how you got to look at it is like our relationship with Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, trying to please our husband. Just because we do videos, we go out, the scriptures talk about how, hey, just because we do these things, don't you still got to look at we still have to look at ourselves as unprofitable servants, because it's not enough. It's never enough. It's never going to be enough. Because that is a thing. In this society, a woman, she gets to a certain point. When it comes to dealing with a man, what tends to happen is things get dull. Oftentimes what happens is, women, you get comfortable, you get complacent. You talk a hell of a good game to get that man reeled in, and when you got him, you conquer him, and it's on to the next. But that's what a woman, that's what she's often looking to do. She's looking to conquer a man. And that's why, again, brothers have to have a certain wits about you, man. You have to have a standard about yourself and stand on that shit. Because again, it's about what she could bring to the table. It's about what she can add, how she can add to your enterprise, what you've got going on. And at the end of the day, man, all a man wants is peace. That's why, again, it's Sirach 36 and 22. The beauty of a woman cheereth the countenance, and a man loveth nothing better. If there be kindness, meekness, and comfort in her tongue, then is not her husband like other men. It says he that, and you see, because like the scriptures talk about, hey man, a man would rather dwell in the housetop with a lion, a ferocious animal, than to be in the house with a raging woman, man. Because goddamn, all sin is but little to when it comes to the evil, wicked nature of a woman, man. It's like goddamn, It says, he that getteth a wife getteth a possession, a help like unto himself, and a pillar of rest. All right, and the scriptures say that things were written aforetime were written for our learning. All right, these scriptures were written for us to what is that? Hebrews, it talks about the things that accompany salvation. All right, the Lord left us everything that we need. A lot of the scriptures have to deal with, a lot of the characters, our forefathers and foremothers, a lot of the Lord left a lot of that information there for us to character build. There's a lot of character building, especially when it comes to the Old Testament. There's a lot of character building things that we can take and we can learn from. All right, and that applies to you women as well. I mention it often. You women, hey, because we read about King David and the meekness of King David and the patience of our forefathers, the faith and all these things, right? But you women, you can study the characteristics of your foremothers as well, and learn from your foremothers as well. You see, man, because again, at the end of the day, man, a man, he just wants peace. Are you gonna provide that peace? Are you gonna be that pillow of rest? Because again, all that ass and titties, that shit is played out. All right, that shit is played out. All right, and again, how can you add value to that man? And that's how you should be thinking. Like I said, the same way that we think, what can we do more to please our Lord? As the men, we're constantly, how can I please my Lord? How can I, what can I do better? Constantly, just in a state of self-examining, constantly in a state of self-improving, excuse me. How can we do better? Because like I said, yeah, we do videos and, we go out, but hey, at the end of the day, we consider ourselves unprofitable servants. All right. Just because, we do a handful of videos and, we don't kick our feet up, man. I did my videos, hey, I'm good. No, man. All of our righteousness is as filthy rags. All right. We got to be like that obsessive wife, man. That obsessive wife, just constantly thinking, how can we do better? And you women got to have the same mindset, have the same attitude, And if you don't have a man of the Lord yet, well, just wait for one, Just wait for one, all right? And I've said this before, echoing off of the elder from the main camp in New York, the elder 𝐤𝐄𝐄𝐅, to you sisters, man, hey, put yourself out there. You sisters have it's no coincidence the Lord has it set up to where we're in that time where, again, like I said, you women have been put up on this pedestal, so you women have resources. You women have things that you can bring to the table to make brothers' lives better, because brothers are catching pure fucking hell. All right. Brothers are catching pure fucking hell on a daily basis. And certain of you sisters, you women out there have certain assets and things that you can, alleviate brothers' suffering a little bit, because we understand we're never going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. All right. And we understand it can't be too sweet. It can't be too, comfortable, but a lot of you women can, alleviate some of brothers' problems, or what brothers got going on. So again, to end back to echo the elder, man, hey, put yourself out there, hit a brother up on this video, whatever the case may be. You got sisters out there, they tithe brothers' camps, they tithe certain camps. You got sisters out there, they make garments for brothers, and we got brothers' wives that, they cook for the brothers, So, just because you're, when it comes to you women, just because your lot is not to be on the forefront prophesying, that's the men's lot. All right. But it's not to say that you don't have ways that you can contribute. Again, you women have assets. You women have resources that can be utilized. And that's how you serve 𝐤𝐄𝐅. Hell, you can share brothers' videos, share brothers' videos, that can go a long way. Whatever the case may be, but hey, like I said, man, at the end of the day, this is what a man, at the end of the day, this is what he looks for. He looks for peace, because a man can do for himself at this point. Because really, the only thing that a man needs a woman for is to procreate, to bring forth seed. And we're not in a time to where, or I mean, every brother, is different. But it's not advised to be having children in this day and age that we're living in. So with that being said, hey, what's your use? What is your use? Because like I said, I only need a woman to procreate, and I don't want to have any more children. I don't want any more seed on this side. So what is your use? What value can you bring? And it better be in the form of that pillow, being that pillow of rest, being that comfort. It's bad enough that brothers, deal with hell, pure hell in the world. And for brothers that have situations, living situations, dealing with a woman or whatever, a lot of times, brothers come home to more pure hell. And it gets to a point, you don't even want to go home. It gets to a point you don't even rush to get out of work. Because I say this all the time when I'm with brothers. I say this all the time. When it's time to leave, and brothers are pretty much, because we don't want to leave. When we're fellowshipping, we don't want to leave. And I say it all the time. It's not like I'm in a rush. I say all the time, where am I going to go? Home? This is my home. When I'm with brothers, that is my home. It's like, where am I going to go? Home? So-called home? Yeah, I'm not in a rush. I'm never in a rush. It's just pure hell. That's why, again, man, you woman, you're gonna have to really come with it. Bring your A game. All right. Like I said, hey, study the characteristics of your foremothers. All right. Because again, these words, they're not just put here just for us to read. No, these things are put here for us to read and apply it to our lives. Again, the Lord left this, the scriptures here for a reason. And then, these scriptures aren't made to just be read as words on a book, words on the pages, man. No, we ought to apply these things. All right. Internalize these things. We have to become what we read. That's why I say this all the time, hey, I look myself in the mirror, and hey, I tell myself all the time, I am this, this is me, we have to become this. We have to embody this. And that applies to you women as well, so really bring your A game to you women out there. If it's to you sincere women, whoever you are. All right. Bring your A game. All right. Because it's not about what he can bring. It's not about what he could do for you. It's about what you could do for him, and how you can add value to him, to his enterprise. So Lord willing, this is edifying, giving all praises to Yahweh by Shema Shai. Shalom to you, hopefully elect.